Welcome to the North County Weekly Recap. I'm Steve Petersky, publisher of North County Pipeline, and every week I dive into the headlines I've covered. So let's get started. We'll do a quick, brief NCAA tournament shout out to my Colorado State Rams women's team, won the Mountain West. So hopefully we make a run this year. Men's not so fortunate, but still filled out some brackets, and hopefully they're somewhat intact going forward, and maybe win a pool or two here. And hopefully all your brackets haven't been busted yet, but I'm sure they're not sitting in great position after the first weekend. Anyways, after that, we'll just move into it, get started. Moonlight Anniversary, today's story was really cool. It was a little fun throwback kind of time capsule story as well. 45 years they're celebrating. It's a really great venue. Highly suggest catching a concert or a musical there. Even if you're not really kind of a fan of musicals, it's still just an awesome venue to go check out an evening and have some fun under the stars. And so they started, like I said, 45 years ago, just basically a stage, and then the cast and crew would kind of have to build their own sets and all the things that make it go and tear it down and do it again, and then kind of did that for years, and then finally, as they built it up a little bit in the mid 2000s, 2008, they were able to get some serious funding from the city and elsewhere, and so they just demoed the whole thing, built up this whole new state of the art facility. So you got a full stage house with dressing rooms, all that kind of stuff. State of the art lighting and stages and sound, and then being able to manipulate the stages using computers versus the old models, stuff like that. And so really allowed them to expand what kind of shows they were able to produce and get that more Broadway quality shows into the venue. And then they integrated a concert series about 10 years ago, and so that really kind of introduced a new demographic to the venue as well. And so they're peeling off people like that as well to come get the shows. So yeah, it's a really cool venue. And so this year they've been really with the 45 years, 7,000 season tickets have been sold. And so they're just really jamming along and hopefully continuing that success and bringing even more quality. So they got some really great shows this year. Mean Girls, which is based on the movie directed by Tina Fey. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So they'll be using, going back to the scores and songs from the 1970s version movie with Gene Wilder, and then kind of a heartfelt show to close out the season, Come From Away, which is based on events from 9/11. They'll be having a show on 9/11, so kind of runs in concert with that. Plus some others, Guys and Dolls, and so. And then they'll have their concert series weaved into the middle. So I very, very highly check it out. And it was just a fun story. Just seeing how it's transformed over the years and become really a gem for the performing arts in North County and one of the big areas. And so they're driving kind of venues for not only fans but for actors and performers. And so it's the facility is owned by the city, and then there's a fundraising arm, the Moonlight Stage Foundation, and so the foundation helps out with a lot of other things. Specifically, they got some LED boards that help with the production now, and so that's really a cool addition. And then they also raise money throughout the year to host the free community event known as Jingle Terrace, which is a Christmas event, holiday event. And so for 3 weekends leading into Christmas, they just blow out the whole place. Lights, Santa, petting zoo, decorations, good time for everybody. And then obviously, kind of a musical component with it, with the LED boards and kind of video show, Christmas songs, all that kind of stuff. Mariah Carey coming at you for hours and hours. But no, it's a really great place. So suggest, checking it out, either a concert or a musical. And just go to the website and check them out and be sure to catch a show, because it's really something that is worth your time in a couple hours on a weekend or even during a weekday. So that was a fun story. Moving on to Sandag, they just their board on February 27th approved $62 million in expedited funding for the San Diego Bridge, and that's that's just right by the Del Mar Fairgrounds. That goes across the San Diego River right there. And so that old wooden trestle, over 100 years old, is going to be demoed, and well, it'll stay up, and then they'll build a concrete bridge with double tracking. And so it'll start in Del Mar or in Solana Beach. So Solana Beach, at their transit station, they'll readjust the walls from kind of an angled to a flat, and double track there. So that whole city will be double tracked, and then go lead into the fairgrounds, and then with the fairgrounds or to the bridge, and then with the fairgrounds, they're building a special events platform. So try to ease congestion for things like opening day at the races, the fair, and any other events that they have at the fairgrounds, which are constant throughout the year. As if you see my events newsletter on Mondays, always kind of something going on over down there. So that's kind of the big thing. But then this also plays into the bigger project of, in some respects, with the rail realignment from Del Mar Bluff. So a lot of residents in Del Mar, worried about potential home losses due to eminent domain with some of the alternatives that Sandag has presented. And so they want to make sure that their option, which is called the Northern Yellow Line, can still connect with the bridge, the new bridge, and then go up to I-5, basically west to I-5, then go into a tunnel, and then south down and exit kind of by Torrey Pines. So that'll all be double tracked as well. And from what I understand, and talking with Lisa Hebner, the chair, she's also the mayor of Solana Beach, and then the Sandag, and seeing the board meeting. The last thing that they really want to do is eminent domain any homes, and so because that's a brutal decision, and something that obviously changes those people's lives forever who are affected, and could change the trajectory of the city for years and years to come. So they're working diligently on that right now. They're doing geotechnical and soil testing throughout the Del Mar to see kind of where and how those elements can fit and where they can go. And so that's kind of where that bigger project is at right now. The bridge project, the timeline, bidding the bids open in summer, and then they award the contract late fall, early winter, and then they're expecting this break ground in spring of 27. So then there'll be a 4.5 year construction timeline. So they're expecting it to be done by mid 2031. So the project started in 2015. So it just shows you kind of how long it takes to get something like this done. And there's a bunch of elements when you're talking bridges and trains. So you got all the federal and state, county stuff going on, environmental reviews, and then one of the big ones is securing the funding. This project's $347 million. So that's not easily, you don't come by it that easily. So it takes a while to get that done. And so that was this $62 million expedited action that the board take, able to close that gap. Boom, now we can go hit the ground running and get this thing going and avoid any further delays, which would then increase the cost anywhere from 2 to 10%. And that was what Sandag CEO Mario Orso was saying. So it's a big win for Sandag to get a project like this after years and years and years, getting it into that bidding process, hopefully no delays, and then trying to still put residents at ease in Del Mar that yes, we're taking your concerns very seriously and looking at the Northern Yellow Line as a definite alternative and option for moving the tracks moving the tracks off the bluffs there. So that's kind of where we're at with Sandag, and so I'll keep you guys updated as we get as they open up the bids and awarding the contract and seeing kind of what movement's there. And then obviously, when they break ground, that's going to be a big day for Sandag and for that project. And finally, I just wanted to cap the CARB series that I did with the Cap Invest program and the potential of raising gas prices even further outside of the war. So we'll just kind of look at that. We kind of look at it at two different elements. You got war in Iran, and then you have CARB's program, and then the current fees and taxes that increase that have a role in California's gas prices. So basically, the Tuesday story was kind of looking at the political side of things, where we're at, with 15 Democrats breaking ranks and kind of linking with Republicans and the industry, the oil industry, of trying to urge CARB to hit the brakes, maybe push a pause, because what CARB wants to do is eliminate allowances or credits for emitters. So, an oil company and some others, they'd have to buy these credits that allows them to emit emissions. That comes at a cost that is obviously passed through to the consumers. And so they're saying their worries are if they go this hard, which is 118.3 million in reductions of credits or allowances from 2027 to 2030, could add $1 on to the per gallon price of fuel, and that would impact agriculture, driving, obviously, aviation. So and then others have warned that if they do this, then the cost of all that won't doesn't pencil out for them anymore, and they'll even further consider pulling out even more. So Chevron, Marathon is looking at potentially even shutting down pipelines. And then Nevada and Arizona governors have also jointly sent letters to Newsom. In 2024, they sent a joint letter, and then Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo sent another one recently saying, you need to pump the brakes because Nevada gets about 88% of its fuel from California. Arizona receives about one third of theirs. And there is a solution in the works, potentially, that would also kind of help. That could help California. So a massive 1,300-mile pipeline, I think from Illinois, be able to service Nevada, Arizona, and California. That would take years, though, and so but that is something that has been discussed among those stakeholders, and then. And then the final story on Wednesday, I just wanted to touch on kind of like the network of pipelines and why we're importing so much, and then and how some people are looking at the imports as like, oh yeah, it is a reliable, while others are saying it's not reliable because of, like we've seen in the war in Iran, any kind of skirmish in the Middle East, and prices just spike for that per barrel cost, and then that's just obviously passed on to the end users in whichever industry or sector we're talking about. So definitely a complex, tough issue. And something that I'll be keeping an eye on for you guys through May, and seeing what the decision is once they have their May 28th meeting, and then any kind of potential fallout from that as well. The state, is going to lose another refinery here in April. Valero is shutting down their Benicia refinery. Chevron closed down theirs. They're kind of known as idling. So Valero's is in idling, so that means they're scaling down and kind of already stopped production. And so the state has loses 18% of its refining capacity. So that means more imported fuel, and so you have to get those from foreign sources, and then about 16% of the state's or oil comes from Alaska. So at least that's kind of the U.S. side of things. But the state has issued more oil permits in Kern County, and that was another thing that the Central Valley representatives have been screaming about and saying, we have this bevy of oil in these oil fields here, so let's tap into it. Let's keep local workers here, keep those that economy here, all that revenue that's generated, billions and billions in revenue and tax revenue each year. So it's going to be a tough decision for CARB. We'll see how it pans out here on May 28th. So I hope you enjoyed that series, and put a lot of work into it with the videos and infographics as well as just the reporting. But it was a fun one to do, and just kind of get really into the weeds and provide some information about how this all works, and it was fun to learn about too. So really hope you guys got a lot out of that one, and just a crazy situation. So it'll be something that definitely keep an eye on, and I'm curious to see how it was. I kind of have a feeling that CARB will approve its proposals as directed, because they have been directed by the state legislature. So that's another element to this too. It's not just CARB kind of who the board is appointed by Governor Newsom, but these have been mandates directed through state legislation to cut back on these emissions to meet 2030 goals, 2035 goals, and eventually be net zero by 2045. So that kind of wraps up that issue. And that's it for this week's North County Weekly Recap. Once again, I want to thank you for your support, and please share North County Pipeline with your friends and family. Thanks for tuning in and staying connected to what happened staying connected with what's happening in North County. And I'll talk to you guys next week.